Friends, hello, my name's Nathan. I work for Papé Machinery Ag and Turf here in Roseburg, Oregon. And I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm relatively new to agriculture. I spent my previous career pursuing aviation as a pilot and a mechanic, and that ironically led me to agriculture. So come with us as we have some conversations and hopefully bring some value to you all on the Papé Machinery Toolkit. Today we want to talk about different types of mowers. I don't know about you, but I find mowing of all kinds pretty therapeutic. In fact, when I'm here at work, I have to tell my wife, please don't mow, leave some for me at home. It's just a pleasant afternoon after work activity for me. And for many of you, it's an absolute necessity to keep your place from being overrun. So I wanted to address a few different types of mowers. We're not going to be able to cover everything in this video for what we have on hand, but we're going to cover the basis, and we're going to talk about one of my favorites, and I think is one of the best choices for Oregonians. What types of mowers exist? Where can you put them on the tractor? I brought this tractor out because it shows an example of a belly mower or a mid-mount mower or a drive-over mower. Those are all synonyms for the type of mowing deck that we have on this tractor. This is a very popular and common option. And it just shows that on some tractors you can put a mower in between the wheels. Most mowers that people are familiar with, a brush hog or a brush mower, is a 3-point hitch attached implement and a PTO driven implement. And in rare situations, there's even examples of hydraulically powered mowers that can go on your loader that have some neat applications, but those are pretty rare. So let's go over here and we'll talk about kind of the basic principles of operation, pros and cons, and which one, what kind of folks are right for this mower. So the generic term we use is a rotary cutter. The kind of the industry or the slang, if you will, or the common lingo is a brush hog, bush hog, brush cutter, that kind of thing. And this is the premise of this is a large enclosed deck with a disc with hinged blades swinging, which creates a disc mowing action, like an upside down helicopter. Pretty self-explanatory. The way this differs from, say, a lawnmower is that these blades are hinged, which allows for them to strike objects on the ground, rocks, logs, even dirt, and the hinge action will absorb some of that energy. It'll protect the blower, it'll protect the blade more, it'll protect the spindle and the transmission a little bit more. And the use for this is pretty diverse. This is probably the most common type of 3-point PTO driven mower that we sell because it has a lot of applications. It's decent for mowing grass and light brush. It'll handle blackberries fairly well, but not super tall, spindly blackberries. This series of mower, this is the Frontier model. This is what we sell at John Deere as a base model, if you will. And this will accept, it'll cut up to a 1-inch limb. You can adjust this mower pretty low to the ground, and there's a lot of adjustment on the 3-point hitch and even some adjustments on the deck itself that let you get really low, or you can get relatively high. A common technique is to raise the mower all the way up, back into tall brush or tall grass, lower it down and drive out. Once you have your initial mow or your initial cut done, then you can come back and groom it, and it does pretty good. Another choice is a similar concept, but this is a John Deere brand, and it is what we call an MX series, and this is just a heavier version. So if you have an application where you might have thicker limbs you're wanting to mow, this will accept up to 2-inch saplings, and it's just more robust. So maybe you're putting this on the back of a bigger tractor, maybe you're mowing a lot more with it. Many times commercial farms will use this just as to maintain their roads and pathways. And this is for those that just know they're going to be beating up their mower more. Some of the distinguishing characteristics are the blades are a lot thicker, and this disc, or some people call it a stump jumper, in the middle is larger, more robust, and is going to skip over fixed obstacles in the ground better. So again, this is what we call, this is a Frontier model or brand, and then this is a John Deere brand. Before I move on from discussing rotary cutters, I want to mention some of the pros and cons. The pros is that they're really common, so which means that they're well received. They have a lot of uses. They're easy to find parts for, and they're relatively inexpensive. A lot of people run a rotary cutter with their tractor. Other pros is that they're highly adjustable, and they'll work with different size tractors. You do need to consider the PTO output of the tractor and the gearbox of the mower, but these are a great universal choice. Cons are that they aren't going to give you a groomed cut as much. They don't chop the material, the vegetation inside the deck as much. You're going to have larger pieces left over. And you know, a lot of us in Oregon are battling blackberries or poison oak or other just woody, obnoxious, invasive species. And it has been my experience that a rotary cutter tends to be a little more tangled up. You have to do more passes. And in some of those woody invasives like blackberries, they struggle a little bit. Who are they for? Again, they're a fantastic choice if you have the budget for one mower and you just need something that can do a little of everything, kind of a jack of all trades. Next we have a grooming mower. This is a 3-point attached PTO driven mower, and as you can see, much smaller blades, no hinging, there's more blades. So this is a lawn mowing deck for your tractor, the back of your tractor. And these come in different widths. The PTO driveline comes out of the tractor into a gearbox and spins belts so that these, if they encounter an obstacle or need to stop, the belts will slip. But this will give you the closest thing to a true lawnmower cut that you can use on your tractor. The pros of this is that it makes a really nice cut. They're relatively lightweight, and they're pretty easy to maneuver, and even when they're parked, these 4 wheels, they're easy to move around. Cons is that they're not especially robust. We've gotten some feedback from customers that bought this and use these even on 3-4 acres, and oftentimes in Douglas County or Oregon at large, folks' property, it's got molehills, it's got weeds, it's a little bumpy. We've had a little bit of feedback that the belts wear out and they don't quite stand up. So this has a kind of a unique and specific application, but it's a nice option if the tractor that you own doesn't accept a belly mower, but you want that groomed lawn mowed cut. Now moving on, this is my most favorite. It's if you saw our pallet fork video, I kind of have a thing for pallet forks. Definitely have a thing for flails. This is a flail mower, and the premise of a flail, as you can see here, is entirely different. Instead of a rotating disc, if you will, with hinged blades, this is a drum, kind of like a rolling pin you'd find in the kitchen with hinged knives, as you can see here. With these hinged blades to spin this way, it's PTO driven, which comes down to through a shaft to a belt, which spins this. And using the 3-point hitch and the top link, you can lower the flail all the way to the ground even. And there's even a temptation sometimes to use this thing to scalp the ground if you're trying to do a little grading. It's not designed for that, but that's how low you can get these. Why do I like the flail so much? In the conditions we find ourselves in Oregon, it's just the best tool for general property management that I've found. As some of you may know, my wife and I farm hazelnuts, and we have a pretty diverse property. We got rocks, I've got blackberries, I've got commercial orchard, I've got lawn, I've got sandy, uneven spots next to the river, and the flail just does so good on the land, and especially with handling blackberries, woody brush and material like that. So what it does is let's use blackberries for an example. If you're wanting to just dispose of blackberries, you lift this thing, and oftentimes you're backing up into the blackberry bramble. I don't know if you can see behind me, but blackberries like this with a proper sized flail and tractor will do quick work of this hillside. And it will turn that material to mulch. So the premise of this is that the shell or the dome of the flail captures and collects the material, and as it spins around, it just gets chopped up more and more and more, and eventually is deposited as just pulp. And there's benefit to that. There's even a soil health benefit to that, where you can quickly decompose that material. It adds decomposition to the ground. It eventually will decompose and improve soil health. It adds a layer of mulch, which suppresses regrowth of whatever you're mowing a little bit. For blackberries, I highly recommend a flail. Now, what about other applications? Tall grass, low grass, with the right blades, this will do really, really well. So in my context, we're mowing the orchard of our hazelnuts and around the property, and I will, in the same day, mow the orchard, beautiful low, take it down to 1/2 inch, and then I'll take the same machine and I'll go flail monster blackberries. And it's just such a versatile tool. So what are the pros? Well, I've kind of rambled about them. They just, in my view, they almost do the best when it comes to non-lawn mowing in rural properties, straight up. The other, yeah, that's the pro, right? They're just excellent. What's the con? They're definitely more expensive, maybe sometimes twice as much compared to a rotary cutter. They're heavy, so a lot of flails don't fit smaller tractors. Until recently, manufacturers are responding to that, and that's what we have here. We have a small compact flail that can fit on even a 1 Series tractor. And other than that, that's kind of the main cons. They're a little more money and they're a little bit heavy. So flail mower, love it. And that rounds out the main mowers you're gonna see. We can kind of end again on a belly mower. This is very similar in premise to the grooming mower. It's just got the connections to hook up to the underneath of the tractor. And these are quite robust as well. I've seen these do some pretty heavy duty work, but they're really best for the lawn. Well, that's what we got for you today. I hope this is helpful to kind of see the underbelly of these, get some terms, have some concepts in mind, and please let us know, what kind of mower do you use? Do you use a flail? Are you in love with your rotary cutter? Do you use your lawn mowing deck everywhere and it's awesome? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. My name's Nathan, and this is Papé Machinery Toolkit.